weekend to just be connected with the community. And boy, does it feel great to welcome this guest on, Scott Loffler, who has been overseeing so many aspects of this team that people, wouldn't necessarily think of on a day-to-day basis. But when you are, senior director of all lacrosse operations for a franchise that is always labeled as the model franchise, you're doing something right. And Scotty, congratulations. It's been basically 15 years, right, for you? And that followed the Bandits' 4th championship. So congratulations on franchise ring number 5.
No, thanks. Thanks for the congratulations. Thanks for, all the support you guys have given us all throughout the year and prior to that. But yeah, 15 years. My first year was 2009, the year after they won the last championship. So here I am. I come in as a young guy, and I'm like, we're gonna do this every year. And and here we are, 15 years later, we finally get our first one. We had our shot a few times here, but it feels good. Believe me, it feels special.
So I understand, like, as a player, you play the game. It doesn't matter if it's 15-1 or 2-2, like, you're playing the game, right? But how was it for you watching it? Like, it's 1-1, then late goal in the first quarter, and the weird ups and downs of this game that ended up being a bit of a blowout in the end. But how was your nervous levels throughout the game?
I mean, going into the game, like, obviously there's nothing I can do, right? My job's been done. I did my job throughout the week, and now it's up to the players. So it's different when you have zero control over what happens on the field. And certainly nervous is an understatement of an emotion. But as the game kept creeping on, and we were making that run, and we were getting up more and more, it started to set in, and it was a little bit easier to control the emotions and to kind of prepare myself for what was to happen once that clock hit zero. But you can never prepare for it, but it was certainly helpful that we had that commanding lead going into the 4th.
But there's obviously plans, right? Like when it comes to game pres and you guys, like, who's going to go down. And so at what moment could you start preparing for, like, yes, we're winning this? Is it 5 minutes left? Is it 2? Is it 10? Like, what was okay, because I feel that way, like, too, watching Sabres games, or when Duffer and I are like, okay, like, we can start preparing for the post-game show and know that this result will stay. Like, but when it's a tight game, you can never do that.
Yeah. Usually my routine is for the games, like, I usually go down towards the bench and start to get ready for post-game stuff with about 5 minutes left. I usually go down right about that last media timeout, and with 10 minutes left, you can kind of see the writing on the wall, and I was too excited. I couldn't sit up and watch anymore. I had to get down there and be around, the non-dress players and the staff. Like, we were in that little hallway, and it was a special moment. And, you got the fans going crazy, and they're all yelling at you, and I went down a little earlier, but it was worth it. And, I had my family with me, so it was pretty special. So.
When you're with a group this long, and yes, the group changes over the course of time, but in essence, it feels the same year in, year out. Can you share some personal interactions you may have had before the game ended, but more specifically after the game ended, with people that you've known the longest, players that you've known the longest, and what you saw and felt through those people?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I had my family with me, and I I wanted to celebrate with them. But the first person I went and grabbed and then hugged was Chugger. Him and I have, I think I talked to him more than I talked to my wife, to be honest with you. We're on the phone quite a bit every single day, and I know what he does day in and day out. And obviously him and I work hand in hand on a lot of things. And, like, the game wasn't even over yet, and I was already on the bench giving him a hug. And, I said, we did it, man. And, that was pretty emotional. And, you give JT a hug. He's been here since day one of the organization. So, that was special. And, you get to hug a guy like Matt Vince, who, this is why he came to Buffalo. He came to win a championship with his, he considers it his hometown team because he grew up watching us, and obviously he didn't play for us until he signed for us as a free agent. But, like, he came up and gave me a hug, and he's like, thank you. I can't believe this. And, and it's funny. Everyone's like, can you believe this? It's like, yeah, I can believe it, because, like, this is what we've been trying to do and what we've been, trying to accomplish for years. And we had the pieces. It just never worked out. And, we did it. But, there was a lot of emotions. People are asking, are you going to keep your suit on? I'm like, yeah, I'm keeping my suit. Like, this isn't coming off. That you guys can spray anything you want on me. You can get sweaty, whatever. Like, it's staying on. So, I'm not changing for anything. This is,
I
hopefully
can
not
vouch
once in
for
a
that.
lifetime.
I got a hug from Scotty at the Cobblestone after, so I can vouch for that suit being a little disarray by then. So
It's
Yeah,
okay. It
it
dry
probably,
cleans nicely. I've been there. It dry cleans nicely. Don't worry about it.
yeah,
I hate the saying, well, you have to lose before you can win. Like you have to learn through losing before you can win. But obviously last year ended up on the wrong end against Colorado. So what lesson did you and putting this team together this year learn about what happened last year to put it in effect this year?
yeah. I'll even go back to the other three times. The 2016 and 2019, and then of course last year, like losing. Like we always felt like there was, one little thing that we needed to do differently that would make the change, and we did that. Like every year we found something, we made that change going along, and then this year, we did a few different things, but we got the right players in. Chugger, saw a need for some guys that we needed. It's some more grit on the front door, and we did that. But I really think like what happened to us last year, like being the favorites and going in and having the 19,000 people in Game 3 behind us, and we really let them down. I think all year the guys were on a mission, and it was really it came down to the whole mental aspect with these guys. They knew what had to be done, and they were laser focused on it. And like I can tell you, last year when we all the playoff games we won, there was celebration in the locker room. This year, every playoff game we won, it was like, okay, let's get ready for the next one. It was like I said, super laser focused, and really came down to the mental preparation for these guys, and they knew that the city needed it, the organization needed it, and let's go get it done, and nothing's going to stop us. So,
yeah,
a lot of adjustments, tinker here and there, but it really came down to the mental aspect.
well, I thought it was pretty special that not only was the joy in the moment individually undeniable for your captain, Steve Priolo, but to have that wider lens, if you will, at that moment and, acknowledge the Pagulas and specifically Kim and, just kind of pull it all together. Scott, I can tell you that was kind of the prevailing, it's all community based because most people love the Bills and the Sabres and the Bandits at a similar level. So whether it was before the game or after the game, the one thing I kept hearing was, God, I hope the Bandits get this done because we want them to be the first car in the train here. Like, get this and then get the Bills going. And then, my goodness, what's this going to be like if the Sabres win too? And so you've done it. Like you guys have now kind of set the bar organizationally. And I wanted to make sure you had an opportunity here to take that and then, invite people to join in the overall celebration here, which is coming up on the 15th.
Yeah. Steve says, what do I say? Like when they give me the trophy, what do I say? And I'm like, well, you got to thank everyone that you really want to thank. And I do know, obviously, Kim and the Pagulas are going through some times right now that, aren't very easy, but, she's been on our mind since day one. And, even going back to last year, with the shooting in Buffalo, and there's a lot of reasons that the guys wanted to play and win. And obviously Kim and Terry were one of them. And, you don't really know what to say on the moment. So he's like, what do I say? What do I say? So, I told him, and, I did tell the guys in the locker room after the game, I'm like, obviously the Bills and the Sabres get a lot of love in this town, and so do we. But, there's one thing they can never take away from us. And, we have the first PSE championship, so to speak. And, the guys enjoyed that. But, the Bills and the Sabres are there. And I had a really good conversation with Sean McDermott during the game. And he's just like, this is the atmosphere he's like, this is crazy. And I said, can you imagine what this would be like with 80,000 people at Bills Stadium celebrate? Like, you know what I mean? He just shook his head and he's like he didn't know what to say. So it's a pretty special moment. And, hopefully we get a lot of fans that come out on June 15th at the arena to help us celebrate because, I want to say like Saturday night, the guys got to celebrate as a team, but on June 15th, we're going to celebrate with the fans because that's what this is all for. And, 5:00 on Thursday, June 15th in front of the arena, we're going to have a big plaza rally and then followed by the Bison's game. And then ironically that game was already on the calendar a long time ago that was going to be Bandits night. And we're just going to lump them together and, and make a night of it. So it should be fun, should be a good time. And hopefully we see everyone there.
What about you talked about Sean McDermott, and I know that Don Granado and Kevin Adams and Alex Stuck and Calaposo were at the game. And I actually went to the regular season game at home against the Toronto Rock. And I think that was the regular season game, or maybe, yeah, it was. And at one point they showed Alex Stuck on the Jumbotron chugging a beer, and it got the crowd going, and you guys went on a run right after that. So I remember texting Tucky saying, hey, good job getting them going. But for you to see that interaction between the three organizations, like how does that change the way you see things, and how does that make the Bandits and this, place in Buffalo different than the rest of the National Lacrosse League?
I mean, it really is a community. Like when you hear teams say we're a community-based team, like I don't think it's ever more true than Buffalo. Like the teams rally around each other. The players support each other. It really is a family atmosphere, and that goes back to Terry and Kim. Really, I mean they built this family culture, and all three teams integrate together, and it's just a wild scene. And like you said, Alex was drinking a beer, and I think there's a couple of Bills players that won the playoff games, and they did the same thing, and it was like the crowd just goes nuts, and it just shows like how close knit we are. And we get some of the Bills guys that come down after some games and hang out with the players in the locker room, and it's just like I don't know if you'd see that in any other situation like we have with all the entities owned by the same group. It's just like I said, it's so true when you say like Buffalo is a community based team. It really is.
I can't wait for June 15th. That's going to be an awful lot of fun, going from the plaza and just walking up Washington, and what a special night it'll be for a ton of people. Not to mention, I'm sure the trophy will have, as Seth Appert would say, some lubrication in it once again on the party night, as it makes its way to Salem Field. So, Scotty, congratulations. Folks, save the date. It's June the 15th. It's a Thursday night. It's 5 p.m. in the plaza. Man, we've waited a long time to talk like this, Scotty. Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Appreciate it.